let's cut across to our guest this evening. Joining me, Akshay Marathe, National Spokesperson, Aam Aadmi Party, Dr. Prakash Paswan, National Spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party. Joining us as well will be Rajdeep Sardesai in a short while from now. Akshay Marathe, it does seem that right now the odds in favor of Atishi to replace Arvind Kejriwal.
Preeti, you very well know that I am not authorized to reveal any names of a future Chief Minister of Delhi. And the reason I am not authorized to do that is because we have a constitutional process in place. The process clearly dictates that the right to name a new chief minister lays solely with the elected members of the Delhi Legislative Assembly. And as you have heard from Saurabh Bharadwaj, who just addressed the media a few minutes ago, he has made it clear that the Political Affairs Committee, which is the main decision-making body of the Aam Aadmi Party, has already convened.
Okay.
The Chief Minister has taken the opinions of every single senior leader of the party who is a member of the PAC, as well as who is in the Delhi cabinet. And tomorrow, the MLAs will sit together and make a decision on who will be the next Chief Minister of Delhi. But I can assure you, Preeti, that the next Chief Minister of Delhi will be an honest person, will be somebody who has a high caliber, high empathy for the people of Delhi, and who will serve the people of Delhi with the same commitment that Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has for the last 10 years. Because
Akshay Marathe, many would also say the next Chief Minister has to be a loyalist and somebody who the Delhi Chief Minister implicitly trusts. But we're going to come right back to that question and what comes of Arvind Kejriwal from here on, cutting across to Prakash Paswan. Dr. Prakash Paswan, the fact is, one thing is clear, that be it a gamble that pays off or misfires, it's gotten under the BJP skin. Because yes, Arvind Kejriwal has resigned, exactly what you wanted, but he's done it on his own terms, especially after being given bail by the Supreme Court.
No, Preeti, I think we must understand and we must not underestimate the political understanding of the people of Delhi and the people of this country. They can no longer be taken for granted. What Mr. Arvind Kejriwal is projecting is for victimhood, is for martyrdom, but that's not happening. Mr. Arvind Kejriwal and people of Delhi are very well aware of the fact that he is out on bail. He is not exonerated of those charges, and Justice Suryakant's comment in the bail application is out in the public domain. But Preeti, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal is a Vichitra case in Indian politics. He's a very unique case in Indian politics. His transition, his succession, his political hierarchy is just beyond our comprehension. Mr. Arvind Kejriwal's Aam Aadmi Party is the only political project that since its inception, the only chief of Aam Aadmi Party has been Arvind Kejriwal. My friend from the Aam Aadmi Party was talking about some supposed fictitious Aam Aadmi Party constitution. I'm completely surprised, Preeti. Only one chief of party, only one chief minister since the inception of Aam Aadmi Party. So I think there is absolutely no denial of the fact that this is political drama, this is PR stunt, this is a strategic maneuver of changing the public perception. Why did Mr. Arvind Kejriwal resign just immediately in the aftermath of his bail? It is bail, it is not exoneration. Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, his political party has just become a big political drama, has just become a big political TV series, which we must understand. Through all these entire optics, he is doing nothing, but it is a projection of martyrdom. He is trying to manipulate the narrative of the public perception. The public perception is out in the open. But you can no longer fool the people of Delhi, Preeti. The people of Delhi have made their minds clear. Mr. Arvind Kejriwal's actual court will happen next year when the Delhi Assembly elections happen. And we will see what happened in the last year parliamentary election. This year's parliamentary election, 7 out of 7 Lok Sabha seats. People of Delhi have certainly made up their minds. They are going to stand with BJP and not with someone who was in jail, who is out on bail.
All right, okay. I'm going to cut across to Rajdeep Sardesai as well, but Akshay Marathe, you want to come in, as the BJP says, nothing short of theatrics and drama.
Preeti, I want to say that yesterday was a historic day in Indian politics. It was historic because we have a chief minister of a state like Delhi saying in the public domain that elect me only if you think I am an honest man. Do you think any other politician in India today has the guts to come out and say, elect me only if I'm honest. It is only Arvind Kejriwal who has the guts to say that, because he has gone through a Agni Pariksha of several court cases and investigations. And at the end of all of that, what did we find out from the Supreme Court? The Supreme Court called the CBI a caged parrot. The Supreme Court actually vindicated our stand from day one, that because we have a perception of an honest party, an honest leader, the BJP couldn't tolerate that. The BJP went after Arvind Kejriwal to destroy his image of an honest man. And today he wants to recover that image. He wants to remind the people that actually it is his party, it is him who showed that an honest politics is possible and it can continue to sustain itself.
But okay, Akshay Marathe, as Guru Prakash Paswan says, he's been given bail. He's not been acquitted.
Absolutely. And at this stage of the case, only a bail could have been possible.
Okay.
There was no trial. You very well know, Preeti, the trial has not even started. That's the most shocking part of this whole case.
Guru Prakash Paswan, I'll just come back to you. I just want to cut across to Rajdeep Sardesai, who's in the studio with us. Rajdeep, bail, conviction, all of that aside, but the big question now is, where does Arvind Kejriwal go from here? Because he's gone back to the Aam Aadmi drawing board. He will need to reinvent himself, because one thing is clear, the image has taken a hit. Where do you see the path from here on for him?
Look, I think for Arvind Kejriwal, the next 4 months, Preeti, are really do or die. Here is a politician who rose had a meteoric rise in Indian politics, created a startup that not only captured power in its very first election, but in the last decade has been in power in 2 states. And I don't think too many political parties have achieved that. But I think for Arvind Kejriwal, this is, as you rightly said, an opportunity to go back to the drawing board, to show that he is truly an Aam Aadmi. I think the biggest blow that he's taken is because the opposition his opponents have been able to successfully portray him as a leader who made a number of promises when it came to anti-corruption, but now finds himself encircled with these corruption allegations. Whether those allegations are proven or not will be decided in the court. But the fact is, a perception was created that here was a chief minister who was in jail and still was not resigning. And I think the opposition was able to some extent, push Arvind Kejriwal into a corner. Now, he's the one who's gone on the front foot. Whichever way you look at it, by resigning in the manner that he certainly has given himself another chance to capture the narrative. Whether he can do that, Preeti, it's going to be a huge challenge. And I think the challenge starts tomorrow itself with the choice of his chief ministership. It also depends on how the Congress importantly responds. And of course, it depends on whether in the next 4 months he can make Arvind Kejriwal the core issue of the Delhi election. Without Delhi, Arvind Kejriwal will be considerably weakened at the national level.
Stay with me, Rajdeep. Dr. Paswan wanted to make a point. Come in, Dr. Paswan, very quickly.
No, Preeti, I think I just had to respond to the spokesperson from the Aam Aadmi Party. Let me just quote from the Supreme Court verdict categorically. Justice Suryakant has said, and I quote, he said the arrest of Arvind Kejriwal was not in question. There was absolutely no procedural irregularity as far as his arrest is concerned. This is Justice Suryakant. This is not the BJP perspective. Number 2, Preeti, Rajdeep ji was also talking about accountability and Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, his failure on the deliver of promises. There is a report by India Today itself that from the 2015 manifesto of Aam Aadmi Party, 65% of the promises are pending. 20% there is absolutely no progress. So there are very logical and legitimate questions. Is he trying to deviate? There is absolutely a presence of anti-incumbency factor. There is absolutely an attempt to create sympathy in favor of Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, in favor of Aam Aadmi Party. But like I said, the collective consciousness of people of Delhi is such that you can no longer fool them. And they have shown this in 2024 parliamentary election by giving 7 out of 7 seats to the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Dr. Paswan, you're nicely quoting, one order, but maybe I'll bring in Akshay Marathe to quote Justice Bhuyan.
No, it's very interesting. The relevant portion of that order actually was that the CBI may have the power to arrest someone. But why did they have to arrest Arvind Kejriwal on the eve of his bail order from the Enforcement Directorate? He was arrested by the CBI on that particular day so that the ED's bail order that Arvind Kejriwal was about to get would be frustrated and he would remain in jail for a longer period of time. So that is the conspiracy that the Supreme Court exposed. And the BJP still doesn't have the shame to come out and apologize to the people of Delhi for jailing their chief minister on a false case without having any evidence, without proving the case in court.
Okay.
Let the trial happen, let them prove their charges, and then you can take action against anybody. But without a trial, you have just thrown an innocent man who was, who was the ray of hope in India for a new kind of politics. He was trying to show a new direction to India's politics, and BJP actually has cost India. It is an opportunity cost that India has had to pay because
it's really
Aam Aadmi
interesting
Party
because
was the next.
Both these arguments, one from Dr. Paswan and one from Akshay Marathe, completely at the two ends of this spectrum. One would think one is schizophrenic if you're talking about Arvind Kejriwal. But Rajdeep, I'll bring you in. What's the best way? Because there wasn't much. He had his back to the wall, Rajdeep, where Arvind Kejriwal was concerned. He's decided to take that risk. He's decided to personalize an election. There is anti-incumbency. There is charges of graft. But he wants to do away with all of that and say, make it about whether the people should again elect Arvind Kejriwal as CM.
Preeti, at one level, you have to say he's making a virtue out of a necessity. The fact is, after that Supreme Court order, even though he got bail, he knew that he was a very hamstrung chief minister. There was only so much he could do. I can't go to the secretariat. There were various restrictions. He was in this running battle with the lieutenant governor. So I think he's taken, in this adversity, he has seen some opportunity. I think the one advantage that he still does have is that in Delhi, over the last decade, both the Congress and the BJP have been unable to throw up a credible counter leadership. I keep making this point. Narendra Modi ji, under his leadership, the BJP swept Delhi 2014, 2019, 2024 Lok Sabha. And yet that has not reflected in the BJP's performance in the Vidhan Sabha. They did get a slight bump last time in the aftermath of the Shaheen Bagh protests. But overall, you can see that the BJP has not, over these last 15 years or last 10 years, been able to throw up a strong, credible leadership in Delhi. And the same thing, to some extent, goes to the Congress. I mean, look at the situation. The Congress appointed Arvind Singh Lovely as their chief ahead of the Lok Sabha elections. What happens? Arvind Singh Lovely leaves the Congress and goes back to the BJP for the second time. I mean, the party in that sense has been unable to cultivate a strong, credible leadership. Those who are today within the Congress speaking out against Arvind Kejriwal are the likes of Sandeep Dixit, whom their own party has marginalized in the last decade. So I think the one advantage that Arvind Kejriwal has is that both his rivals also suffer from, both the main other parties also suffer from a credibility deficit. The one disadvantage that he has is that the idealism that he brought to the table 10 years ago no longer exists. If Arvind Kejriwal thinks resigning this time will give him the same equity that it gave him in 2014, I think he's mistaken. He's got a tougher battle now because he does have 10 years of anti-incumbency of his MLAs and himself that he has to combat on the ground, Preeti.
Akshay Marathe, you can answer that, but when you talk of an opportunity, it could have been anybody else, but this wasn't supposed to be the Aam Aadmi Party where you move into a palatial CM bungalow where you change your cars. All of that has stuck, Akshay Marathe. Now, how do you undo that? Will there be an attempt to undo it?
Preeti, what has actually stuck on Aam Aadmi Party is our record on governance. Arvind Kejriwal is the man who provided 18 lakh children of Delhi world-class education when it was unimaginable that government schools can become as good as they have now become in Delhi, in Delhi's government schools. He has provided mohalla clinics to over 4 crore total patients in their OPDs. What has stuck is the 75% of Delhi that gets access to 200 units of free power. What has stuck is the 70% of Delhi that gets access to free water. So the people of Delhi are convinced that Arvind Kejriwal is the only chief minister who can make their lives better.
And Akshay Marathe, they conveniently forgot that when you went to them in Lok Sabha and said, jail ka jawab vote se, because you never got that vote.
No, it was a different election. It was not to elect the chief minister of Delhi. If Arvind Kejriwal was on the ballot as, for the chief minister position of Delhi, we would have swept all 70 seats of Delhi. It was a different election. It was for the national level.
But Dr. Paswan, Akshay Marathe is not quite far from the truth. Other than the taint of graft, it's happened in 2 consecutive elections for Arvind Kejriwal, where he's been wiped out, where the Lok Sabha is concerned, but gone on to sweep Delhi.
No, Preeti, let me first respond to Rajdeep ji. Rajdeep ji, you are a very senior journalist and you would remember Madan Lal Khurana ji, Vijay Malhotra ji, Sushma Swaraj ji. So Delhi has produced a lot of BJP stalwarts.
Of course,
so
but
to suggest or to indicate that Delhi
no,
is
Paswan ji, just
sir,
a clarification. I mentioned the last decade. You are talking about leaders who came to power 40, 50 years ago.
Sir.
Go ahead, make your point, Dr. Paswan.
Sir, thank you. Sir, but to suggest that Delhi has failed to produce any leadership across the time and space, I think I personally find it a little bit preposterous. But
no, name me one. Sir, name me one strong leader you have thrown up in the last 10 years. Okay. Just a minute. You have to name me one. Name me one you have thrown up in the last 10 years.
No. Oh, no. See, leaders emerged, Rajdeep ji, in the political process in the Bharatiya Janata Party. Were you aware of Manohar Lal Khattar before he became Chief Minister? Absolutely not. Were you aware of Narendra Modi before he became the Gujarat Chief Minister? Absolutely not. So leaders in the system of Bharatiya Janata Party, which is not a family-run enterprise, emerge. Leaders are cultivated organizationally. There are systems, there are checks and balances through which leadership emerges in the Bharatiya Janata Party. So to suggest that one state or one union territory is bereft of any political leadership is something which I disagree with. Second, Preeti, we must understand that today Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, and all of us can do selective and very convenient readings of the Supreme Court verdict. But today Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, like Rajdeep ji also suggested, he wanted to run Delhi from Tihar jail. He is nothing today but a glorified version of Syed Shahabuddin and Lalu Prasad Yadav, which Rajdeep ji would very well remember. Both of them, Shahabuddin wanted to run Siwan from jail. Lalu ji wanted to run Bihar from jail. And similarly, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal wanted to run Delhi from jail. If Mr. Arvind Kejriwal is exonerated, as it is being suggested by my friend from the Aam Aadmi Party, why is he not allowed to go to the secretariat? Why is he not allowed to sign papers? So we have to understand, it is nothing but political optics. It is nothing but political theatrics. Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has got a PhD when it comes to creating narratives. It is an emotional effort
but isn't that
to
politics?
manipulate the perception of the people of Delhi. But he has to understand.
Okay, all right, okay.
2024 parliamentary election.
Akshay Marathe, very quickly.
The Aam Aadmi Party is quoting the assembly
The BJP's main grounds against us was that Arvind Kejriwal was not resigning when he was in jail, and they claimed that Arvind Kejriwal is greedy for power, and that's why he's not resigning. But now he's come out of jail and he's chosen to resign when he had the opportunity to take the benefits of the power. But instead he has chosen to sacrifice his seat and he has gone back to the people. That is the true character of a good leader, who has said that I want the mandate of the people, I want validation from my people. He did not stick on to the chair just because he was elected as chief minister. He said, okay, you have made allegations against me. I'm going back to my people who have sent me there with 62 seats the last time. This time give me 70 seats.
All right, we're going to be joined by Atishi, who's now the top contender in just a short while. But I want to bring in Rajdeep Sardesai, who's with us. Rajdeep, interesting in terms of the choice of chief minister. Front runner right now, seemingly Atishi, safe choice, close to the chief minister, a loyalist there, in with the administration, holds 14 portfolios, and importantly knows the workings of the bureaucracy.
I don't want to.
Could it be her? That's the big question.
I don't want to predict kaun banega Mukhyamantri, but if I were a betting man, and I'm not, I would say it's going to be a surprise choice. All the names that you mentioned as the top contenders, don't be surprised if it is someone who's a wild card. I won't be surprised if the next Chief Minister of Delhi is an unexpected choice and will reflect the political calculations of Arvind Kejriwal at the moment more than necessarily governance track record. With 4 months to go, an election coming up, Preeti, in just 4 to 6 months, Mr. Kejriwal will want someone as a Chief Minister who can be a symbolic figure of the politics that he wants to represent, project himself, as I said at the very outset, recast his original Aam Aadmi image. So expect someone who reflects in a way the original Aam Aadmi identity. I don't want to say more, but that's my sense.